This is my life on YouTube. Basically, this is Paul Murray. Well, I'm not really popular in this channel, don't really do much on YouTube, so I'm going to change that. Because I like long form better than short form. But I'm mainly on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And I specialise in coaching men who I like to say have got more years under their belt than I do. In other words, over 40, 45, 50. You're still at what I call an aging athlete, a man who likes to push themselves hard, even though he's in his 40s. Maybe you lost your way, you were a good athlete in your day, you know what sport is, you know what drive is. You've still got there, but you've lost your way a wee bit, okay? I like to show men the simple ways to train to get you to function in the best way possible. Now, currently I have got a Panjack shoulder because I'm doing cruciate gymnastic rings and dislocated, so it's not healed up properly. But that is another excuse that a lot of guys use to not train. Time is another one. So I'm going to do a 25-minute quick kill here, which is just simply 25 minutes that allows you to get something done, even with injuries. And I want to take you through my method training because my mind works differently to most coaches. So I've got this belief of upper body complexity, lower body intensity. So smash the lower body and we make the exercises on the upper body more complex as we go along. It's not a steadfast rule, but it's how I like to bring the principles. The other thing I like to do is I like to bring a bit of fun into training, so train for skills. So today, because I can't do anything, can't do kettlebells, which are my baseline go-to operation, I'm going to use a safety bar, the barbell, do lower body crawls, do upper body skills, and I'm going to do some pressing, heavier on the left because the left's not injured, lighter on the right because that's the one that's damaged. So it's very simple, and you're going to listen to my walking, or you can switch off. Now, when it comes, the reason I like safety bars is my hands are free, the bar's still in the back, and the centre weight is lower to my spine, making it safer for the squat position. I'm also using a ramp because the ramp allows for the lack of ankle mobility due to the fact I've got 2 hip replacements, due to being an ex-pro and a weightlifter who didn't look after his body in his 20s. So what I'm going to do is very simply, we're going to do just 5 sets of 5 reps on the squats, nice slow control. And then we'll repeat the same principle with kettlebells. Now the kettlebells I'm using is going to be 24 kilo for good arm and 16, maybe I'll drop that to 14 for my dummy arm. And this is one thing I want you to understand when you're training. One side is injured, so it's not long term. You can still train the good side, work it hard. There'll be a neural crossover to the dummy arm, and you stay within a pain scale of 4. So anything over 4, you avoid. Under 4, you do. So I also have a non-dominant arm, especially as it's not an injured one. So 5 reps with 24s. And we will do 16 with the damage arm. Now, I'm 4 weeks out of this injury. So I know that 16 is a manageable weight for me currently. It's around about a level of 4. So I'm on the cusp. I don't want to push it too hard. And the skill we're going to work on today is gymnastics. We're going to do muscle up drill. Now here's the thing. Muscle ups were my go-to upper body movement, but obviously I can't do a pull-up right now because it damages himself so badly. But we can still do the skill set, and this is something I think everyone needs to understand. You can ingrain a pattern and maintain the pathways neurologically so that when you actually get out of injury, it's no longer as bad. The recovery is a lot smoother. So what I do here is only 10 kg dumbbell or kettlebells. I'm using what's called a gymnastic Ferrugia system. I love this thing, it's the best gym garage built kit you can use. And what I'm doing here is I'm replicating the pathway of a muscle up that allows my central nervous system, my neurological system, to maintain a level of safety and understanding of the technique I'm always wanting to do. And this is one of my principles, one of my foundations for how I coach. I'm a big believer you don't have to smash the body, and that if you give your body permission to feel good about itself, it will grant you a lot more of what you're asking it. But in order to do this approach, training's got to be a staple in your diet. That's why with my online coaching, I mainly focus on aging athletes, guys that don't need their hands held through their training, because you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And if you are training at home, you know to hold you accountable when they're doing the sessions. Therefore, you have to have the mindset to want to do it. And that's something I can't cultivate in anyone. That's something that's required that everyone needs to do themselves. So, if you haven't got that type of mindset, then the truth is I can't help you. No one can help you until you do it yourself. But for those guys that have got the mindset and they're trying to do something themselves, this type of training is perfect. Minimal equipment, gym garage setup, and you're just doing the basics, do them well, while adding skill. Also, the approach of training regular, increasing the groove sort of system, it gives your body permission to move lighter loads and incrementally increase so that the strength is gained over a prolonged period of time, putting you less at risk of injury, allowing the training to be more consistent. And at our age, consistency is key for keeping and maintaining a strong, supple body. If I push myself too hard and overtrain, it takes me a lot longer at 48 than it did at 28 to recover. I believe the weight you should be moving on to or using is a weight that you can absolutely control the entire way through its range. So even though I'm injured on this side, a 16 kilo for me is controllable. And what that's doing, it's giving my nervous system permission to acclimatise to the injury, giving it the ability to recuperate and recover a lot faster. With Dr. Russ, I call it training the nervous system like training a puppy. If I want a puppy to trust me, I've got to spend time coaxing it, showing it love, gentle, be soft, wee tidbits, lots of praise, lots of love. If I shout at my nervous, I shout, puppy, come here! That puppy's going to run away, hide from me, and probably never trust me. That's your nervous system. If your nervous system doesn't trust you, because your nervous system is only thinking about life and death, basically, will this kill me or will will it be okay? So if I give it too much overload, it's never going to trust me fully, and it's never going to grant me the strength that I'm asking of it. But if I have patience, and I start from a level where it feels safe, and over a prolonged period of time, I just add reps, add weight, add tempo, add some sort of variables that require to give me a bit more juice, but at a tempo and a pace it doesn't feel threatened. Then I get consistent gains. And this is how guys my age can build themselves back up to their former selves without the need to kill themselves. And as I know, there's a lot of online coaches out there, and the noise is pretty deafening. The thing is, as you can see, this is a gym. It's an environment where I'm coaching men, like face to face every day. The things I say about doing here, I know they work because for the last 20 years I've been putting my tool work with good effect. I was the founder of an MMA gym over here called Fight Academy Ireland. So I started 20 years ago coaching. 2007, I started coaching MMA. Right up the UFC. First guy in Ireland to go along my coach, David Patterson, to get bring a guy to the UFC. So I've been in that high level athlete where you're beating your life out of yourself, you're beating the shit out of yourself. And I know the glory side of things, but I also know the pain side of things and the recovery and injuries that occur and the setbacks. And a lot of those setbacks happen because of impatience or people not preparing themselves correctly. So the reason I know these things is because I've made the mistakes myself and I've suffered the repercussions of being a fool. I'm recovering from being a fool again because I thought it'd be good fun to do a back lever, which I've always been able to do, but not at 7 AM when I warmed up at 48 years old. Didn't think that. I dislocated my shoulder. So now I had to suffer the repercussions and pains of being a buck agent. And this is the thing you gotta deal with. But just because you're injured doesn't mean you can't train. You can't train the way you may want to. But making peace with the fact that you don't always get what you want. Sometimes life throws you these things to test you and to see what you're made of. And you can use it to your advantage to do the things you don't like doing. For example, 2 hip replacements means I've got a real problem with squatting. So, not being able to train my shoulder the way I want to means that it gives me an opportunity to start training my legs again. And the same principle will apply. I've only got 215 kgs on that bar. So it's 50 kg in total. And I'm only doing sets of 5. And over the weeks, I'm going to add 1 rep. So every session, I'm going to add 1 rep until I'm doing 10 reps. And once I get to 10 reps, I'll stick on 55 kg, I'll drop to 5, and repeat that process. And yes, it is boring. It is methodical. There's no bright shiny objects, and so many of them come magpies if that's what we're looking for in exercise. But you know what it does? It produces results. And I know it produces results because this method has produced results for me and thousands of other men I've trained for the last 20 years. And when people can make peace with the fact that exercise is not meant to be all entertainment and bright shiny objects, and in fact, it's the byproduct of what you're doing, is what you're after. Too many of us get sucked in by social media and this conversation that happens through the influencers, that happens through influencers that convince us that training must be exciting. No, it's not. Training was never meant to be exciting. It would be fun. But if you're always looking exciting, then you're going to get bored very quickly. And then we're on the next thing, there's going to be consistency. Usain Bolt did the same thing for his training over and over again. That's why he's so good at sprinting. Mike Tyson, the same thing over and over again. That's why he's good at boxing. You train for a purpose. For me and my age, 48 plus, we're training for longevity. We're training to be able to get up down off the floor without struggle, have energy for our kids, to look good for the missus, to not have a heart attack, to maintain a standard of strength and confidence in your daily life. So that means you've got to take your way into that strength, because consistency is key, and without consistency, you can't build that body you're after, and that requires you to be able to show up every day without injury, without fear, without your fatigue. We're stressed, we're busy, we're tired, we're lacking confidence, we're carrying too much weight, we're not the guys who are in our 20s. These are all factors we've got to take into great consideration when we're training. And I've got them. Truth is, guys my age, we're not over the hill, maybe we're 40, but we're not over the hill. And we all have the ability to get ourselves into fantastic shape. And I've had thousands of men, literally thousands, through this door. Some have got themselves 6 packs. Some put on more weight than they walked in. But all became more mobile, fitter and stronger. I can't dictate what you do outside the gym, which is the main component of getting yourself into shape when it comes to physical appearance. What you put in your mouth is going to show when you're walking about with your top off. But I can certainly show you how to train properly, how to lift weights, how to address weaknesses so they're no longer weaknesses. Enables you over time to feel awesome, look awesome, and just be more awesome. Now, if you're a home gym trainer and you haven't got one of these Gymnastic Feroza bits of kit, you're obviously missing out on one of the best training systems there is. Gymnastic Feroza. Not sponsored by them. I just sing their praises all the time because of the versatility. I'm a very adaptive coach, and my methods have always been outside the box, shall we say. And this bit of kit has given me so much scope to change things up, when it comes to actually coaching people online, if they've got one of these, I've got the capabilities of so much variables of training. So yeah, I would 100% recommend you get them. Get yourself one of these things and a elastic rack. It's all you need for an unbelievable workout. Last set. So it's simple, very, very simple. 20-25 minutes. 2 sets. Nearly. It's not a stress at all. I'm not tired. Feel good. I feel better now because I've moved a bit of weight, mobilised before I came live. So I'm feeling better, and that's what training should be. This is what we keep training on. Too many of us want to make themselves stupid because that's what Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok tells us. But guys, that doesn't benefit us at all. Especially guys who've got that wee bit of ego edge on them because they were athletes, they were strong, and they want to get back to that point, but they can't make peace with the fact they're not there anymore. And they go into the training sessions wanting to base themselves, all trying to prove themselves that they've still got it. And by doing that, it has the opposite impact on them because their bodies then realise they're not capable of doing it. Their ego takes a battering, they make excuses, some run away, some get injured, some just avoid doing what they can do. Instead of giving themselves permission to recognise they're not 20 anymore, they're in their 40s, in their 50s. But just because you're in your 40s and 50s doesn't mean you haven't got the ability to improve yourself in a drastic way. And that's what my methods work on. My methods work on showing men how to get themselves back to their former selves, but done so in a way that allows them to step into training with a lot less risk of injury, and their egos maybe not taking a battering, but the outcome is what they're after. Get to the 40, 50 mark, having the ability to listen to your body and coordinate with it, rather than fight against it, is one of the absolute key lessons to success. Something feels heavy than it should, and that's your body speaking to you. Maybe you should just listen to it and not lift that weight. Instead, drop it down a few kilo. Work within that 7 out of 10 range for intensity and effort level. 1 session a week. You can go flat out, make it short, make it sharp, make it effective. But the rest of it, skill-based. Slow strength, easy strength, so that you don't burn out. You leave yourself feeling bad when you walk in. Keep that consistent, and over time, you're going to get the body you're after. Like I took a real knock on this injury in March 16th last year. Me and my daughters were nearly killed in a car accident. Until that point, I was in phenomenal shape. And then I lost feelings in my fingers, my hands, and I still haven't gained the feelings in my fingers back yet. In fact, I wake up every night with completely dead arms, no feeling whatsoever. So I had to really adapt my training sessions. And I lost motivation for quite some time because I got sickened. It happens, it's part of the journey. But because I've been consistent with my training for so many years, getting back to it was easier than most guys would find at my age. But that's the byproduct of effort and just commitment. And this is the message I push to people. I've got time for one more. Got an appointment 1:30. Getting a few sets. This is a message I push out to people, guys my age. You know, you've got to be willing to accept who you are and train for that. Not compare yourself to others. Not compare yourself to your own self. Use your own self as a motivation, as a guide stick to where you want to get to. But accept the journey is going to have bumps and obstacles in the way that didn't when you were in your 20s. And that these bumps and obstacles must be navigated in such a way to not derail you, but in fact to push you forward and guide you forward. Sometimes that means taking a few steps back, going the scenic route instead of the motorway. But that's fine, because along the scenic route you're going to see things, you're going to experience things you didn't experience the motorway. And you're going to enjoy the process. And you're going to start discovering things about yourself that the motorway won't show you. And it's about just making peace with that and applying these principles to everything in life. It's 5 simple sets of comfortable weight, 5 reps of each. Next day, the same program is played out, only I add a single rep to each exercise. And I work up on that until I'm doing 10 reps of everything for 5 sets. And then I reset and repeat. Nothing exciting, nothing fancy, nothing new. But it works. And this is what you want. You want a system that works, that's repetitive, and produces the results you're after. So if you're a guy, you've got a home gym set up, you're driven, you're not what I call a class cancer. In other words, you moan, you complain about how pathetic it is, and it spreads through the class like a cancer. You just take ownership of where you are, accept where you're not, and take the steps to close that gap. And I am the coach for you. I specialize in kettlebells, body weight, mace belts, gymnastic rings, club bells, MMA, and I do barbell work as well. And Strength Matters and Strong First certified in all the strength moves, kettlebell, barbell, body weight. And for 20 years of wisdom and experience doing this with guys like you. So if you're interested, reach out to me and contact me. TikTok and Instagram, I'm on the site called Psychedelic PT, where my gym's called Primary Strength and Movement. I'm going to be coming on here an awful lot more doing live workouts and letting my long speeds go ahead because it seems to be the platform for me. So give us a follow, share and like. Thank you very much, folks.